Pleasant afternoon, Miss Kaaya and other students. Let me go ahead and start with our report for chapter 12. And let us begin with the first reporter, which is, or may I call on Miss Padilla?
Good day, everyone. Good day, Miss Kaya. I am Margaret Padilla, and my topic is about the American and European tour. And first off, we're going to go to the topic of Hong Kong. Next slide, please. In Hong Kong, Jose Rizal went to Hong Kong to stay and met Manuel Irate and Jose Maria Basa due to the excitement of their involvement in 1872 Cavite Mutiny. Next slide, please. He found out that the Dominican Congregation was also engaged in other businesses, as they own 750 or more commercial houses that earns for them millions of money. Next slide, please. On the 19th of February 1888, he killed the took him out. Next, in Macau, he faced his friend Jose Sainz de Bernanda and Jose Maria Basa, and he called this place the city of Macau is small and low and marshy. He also visited the Gulf of Camion, January 22, 1860, he boarded a steamship Oceanic bound for Japan. In Japan, February 28, 1888, Rizal befriended Chuhiro, a newspaperman and a chief director of some Japanese newspaper. There where he honed his Japanese language. He also visited Japanese theaters and sketched the flowers and palm views. And lastly, Rizal was impressed with Japanese press this impression letter of blooming trees. He said that Japanese is considered a people with God. He doesn't know if it is justified, and it will be interesting to this point. He said there are among the Japanese where their houses are left open. Their walls are made of paper, and in hotels you can leave money without the fear of losing it.
Ano sa yeah. Hello, good afternoon, Ma'am Kaaya and classmate. I'm Marjorie Ugardo. Today, I'm going to discuss about Rizal in the United States of America in the year of 1888. Rizal left Japan in April 13, 1888 and boarded the ship as Belgic for the United States of America, this ending his short united romance with Seiko. So before I start, we were going to know first what is the purpose or what Rizal doing in the United States of America or even in another country. So the main purpose of Rizal is traveling around the world, so he roam around to the country of the America. And before we go to the main topic about Rizal in America in the year of 1888, let me give you first some insight Rizal life in the America. Did you know that Rizal traveled in three specific places in America? Which is first San Francisco, second is Oakland, and the third is New York, which is City of Rome. Next slide po. And so let me give you a short explanation about Rizal arrived in United States of America in month of April 27, 1888. If he left Japan in April 13, 1888, and he arrived in United States of America in April 27, 1888. So before Rizal arrived in United States of America, he saw a lot of discriminatory treatment, and one of these is first, he saw the discriminatory treatment of the Chinese and by the Negros by the white Americans. Ayan. And the second is, American health authorities did not let the passengers to land for 1 week. Sa totoo lang, hindi lamang siya 1 week, kundi 2 weeks, and that is because of the rumor cholera epidemic that year. So, wait lang. Wait lang. And ayan. But Rizal knows that there's no cholera epidemic that time. At ang nangyari that time, noong siya'y nasa barko pa, nagkaroon ng protesta doon sa sinasakyan niyang barko at siya'y nakiisa sa mga nagprotesta doon. And so when Rizal arrived in US, he stayed in Place Hotel, that first class hotel in US, which is, pabalik na po sa pinakaunang slide. Yan. Itong Palace Hotel Rizal Register here, in which was then considered a first class hotel in the city. And May 6, 1888, Rizal left San Francisco for Oakland. Next slide po. And Rizal visited to the United States in the year of 1888. May 13, 1888, Rizal reached New York, thus ending his trip across the American continent. Rizal stayed 3 days in the city, which he called the Big Town. And May 16, 1888, Rizal left New York for Liverpool on board the City of Rome. According to Rizal, the steamer was the second largest ship in the world, the largest being the Great Eastern. Ito yung sinakay niya papuntang New York. Rizal. Next po. And ayan, and yes, same as well to us. Kapag nasa isang lugar tayo, nagkakaroon din tayo ng kanyang-kanyang impression sa lugar na napuntahan natin. And yes, same to Rizal, he had a good and bad impression in the United States of America. And this is a sum of good impression Rizal in US, which is this one. The first, the material progress of the country as shown in the great cities, huge farms, flourishing industries, and busy factories. And second is the drive and energy of the American people. Third, the natural beauty of the land. And fourth, the high standard of living. And the fifth is the opportunities for better life offered to poor immigrants. And yung bad naman po, next slide po. And for bad impression is this one. One bad impression Rizal had of America, the lack of racial equality that that we can read to this last before he go to London is this. American is the land for excellence. According to Rizal, America is land for excellence of freedom. Ang Amerika ay isa sa mga may pinakamagandang patakaran o malayang gawin ang gusto nila. Ngunit, para nga lang sa mga mapuputi. So, meaning to say, mas pinaprioritize ng mga government yung mga mapuputi kaysa sa maitim. Yun lamang po. Thank you.
Rizal in Europe. Next slide, please. England. The ship City of Rome where Rizal boarded arrived in Liverpool on May 25, 1888. He slept at the Adelphi Hotel. The following day, he boarded a train bound for London. Upon his arrival, he boarded and paid his rent for 45 pesos in Philippine value at the house of Beckett family. Next slide, please. He met the friend of Professor Ferdinand Blumentritt, Dr. Reinhold Ross, a biographer and librarian of Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Through Dr. Ross, Rizal gained access to the British Museum Library. He was able to study the history of the Philippines from its roots. One of the books he had read and which he had painstakingly copied by hand and annotated was The Successos de las Islas Filipinas, Historical Events of the Philippine Islands. It was written in 1609 by Antonio de Morga, a former judge in the Philippines. Rizal believed the book to be appropriate and without prejudice in describing the country and its early inhabitants during the time of Spanish conquest. He gave this message to anyone who would read the book, which is annotated for the Filipinos. In the book, if the book succeeds to awaken for consciousness of our past, already erased from your memory and to rectify what has been classified and slandered, then I have not worked in vain. And with this as a basis, however small it may be, we shall be able to the future. In Rizal History Readings at the British Museum Library, he compared Morgan's work with other books that he interestingly read including that of Gaspar de San Agustin entitled Conquistas de las Islas Filipinas, Conquest of the Philippine Island, which was an account of the Philippine conquest from 1565 to 1615. Published in Madrid in 1696. Rizal gave this comment, I am reading Gaspar de San Agustin. He is very detailed. Only he is very pessimistic to the Indio-Filipino. I find him too patriotic to Spain. He also read the work of Martin de Rada, who wrote a letter to the King of Spain about the condition of the Indios. Rizal commented, "It seems to me that Martin Rada must be read with a grain of salt, because I believe he exaggerates." In another book entitled Relación de las Islas Filipinas, the Philippines in the 1600, written by Father Pedro Chirino. Rizal notes, I find Chirino too proprietary and at times too childish. He tells fairy stories believing that religion would be better and stronger with this, which are entirely out of place over the Philippines. On September 1888, Rizal visited Paris to witness the city's exhibit entitled Bibliothèque Nationale. In December 11, he spent his time with the family of Juan Luna. He also visited Madrid and Barcelona for 12 days. Next slide, please. Wait, balik po tayo dun sa slide na yun. Before he go in that Paris, it is clear that Rizal was interested and overwhelmed in reading many books about the Philippines and its history as written by the first Spaniards who came to the country. A manifestation of this interest was enhanced when a new Filipino newspaper was launched in Barcelona. The España es Filipinas were launched on 1888. Rizal was offered an editorial post. He declined through the letter to Mariano Ponce. Rizal explained, with regard to the newspaper, I appreciate very much your invitation, but I am more or less engaged to manage one. Now I am devoting myself day and night to certain studies where I should not want to manage any periodical without possessing some knowledge about the country, which is the Philippines, its history and its government. Regarding the management of España and Filipinas, I am greatly honored by what you tell me. I shall always be at the service of my country, and what my fellow countrymen think I can do, I shall do. So that Rizal went to Paris on September 1888 to visit and witness the city exhibit entitled Bibliothèque Nationale in December 11. Thank you.
No, 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 no. The active protagonists. Next slide. The active protagonist at London, his compatriots in Barcelona, the society La Solidaridad. The vision of Ray Rodriguez is between about Father Rodriguez and Saint Augustine to publish under the sulat sa mga kababaihan ng Malolos. In February 22, 1889, Rizal wrote his personal message and praised young women of Malolos. Maye, the first name for the Philippines.
Okay na, tapos na po yun.
Tapos na ata.
Eh, naririnig na po ba?
Ah,
Rizal received a sad news in the Philippines. Next slide. First is on September 18, 1888, Rizal received a capable from his compatriots in Hong Kong that no limitangere was banned in the Philippines. Para sa kaalaman ng lahat, nakatanggap ng balita si Dr. Rizal sa kanyang mga kababayan sa Hong Kong na ang kanyang ginawang nobela na No Limit Angeles ay pinagbabawal ng mga Espanyol sa bansang Pilipinas. Kahit sino mang tao o maging mga estudyante ang mahuli nitong may kopya ay kaagad itong kinukulong sa bilibid. Dahil sa walang awa sa pagtrato ng mga Espanyol sa No Limit Angere ay humantong ito sa paghahanap sa mga tindahan, bahay ng mga pari at maging opisyal ng Maynila at Cavite upang maalis ang nobelang ito which is ang No Limit Angere. Next slide please. The family engaged the services of Ambrosio Gonzales to defend them, but he backed out for fear of the Dominican friars. Sinasabi dito, nang umalis si Rizal patungong Europa noong Pebrero 1888, ang kaso ng pamilya ni Rizal at mga taga-Kalamba ay naiwan kay Pasiano Rizal at sa kanyang bayaw na si Manuel P. Hidalgo. Kinuha ng pamilya ni Rizal si Ambrosio Rianzares upang ipagtanggol sila, ngunit umatras siya dahil sa takot nito sa mga prailing Dominikano. Next slide po. Felipe Bencamino accepted the case. Ayon dito, si Felipe Bencamino na may koneksyon sa Royal Audiensya ng Maynila ay tinanggap ang kaso at nagawang makipagsundo sa korupsyong Dominikano sa kondisyon na babayaran ng mga nangungupahan at pamilya ni Rizal sa Calamba ang halagang hinihingi ng mga paraile. Ayon sa salaysay ni Bencamino, pinanggihan ni Jose Rizal ang panukalang pag-areglo ng praile nang makipag-ugnayan siya tungkol dito ng mga nangungupahan ng Kalamba at mga pamilya ni Rizal sa Pilipinas sa pamamagitan ng koneksyon nila mula sa Europa. Sa kanyang memoir, kinilala ni Bencamino ang kahalagaan ni Rizal. He wrote that ang nakalagay dito ay, I told, therefore, Dr. Rizal's family that I could not, under in any manner, continue their defense because it would be useless for the object what Dr. Rizal proposed. Dinagdag pa rito ang pagdating ni Gobernador General Barellano Weyler, isang kilalang taga-suporta ng mga praile sa Pilipinas. Pinatupad ng gobernador ang military will sa mga tuntunin ng Dominican Corporation sa pamilya ni Rizal at sa mga nangungupahan ng Kalamba. Next slide po. Rizal also received sadness from home. The first is the death of Mariano Herbosa, his brother-in-law. Nakatanggap si Rizal ng liham mula sa kanyang pamilya na nagpapaalam sa pagkamatay ni Mariano Herbosa, ang kanyang bayaw, na pinagkaitan ng paglilibing bilang Kristiyano dahil sa hindi pagdalo sa kumpisal at pagiging kamag-anak niya. The second one is the deportation of Manuel P. Hidalgo. Isinasaad dito noong October 6, 1888, ang bayaw ni Rizal na si Manuel P. Hidalgo ay pinatapon ng walang paglilitis ng pamalaang Kastila sa Tagbiliran, Bohol, kasama ang ilang kababayan sa Kalamba. At ito ang mga malalungkot na balita na natanggap ni Dr. Jose Rizal sa bansang Pilipinas at sa kanyang pamilya at maging tahanan. Next na.
wala na. Wala na. Wala na.
Okay na yun. Next na.
Ako
Next.
na? Ako na ba? History of History of Rizal in Paris. In Paris, Rizal left the Becket family in the middle of the March 1889 from London to Paris, France. His arrival in Paris was the birth of the organization he had conceived through his correspondence with Blumentritt, and the organization named as International Association of Filippinologists. Its primary objective is to study the Philippines from a scientific and historical point of view. Rizal is also called Kidlat because it was formed fast like a lightning. These are the following directing committee. First, the President Dr. Ferdinand Blumentritt the Austrian, and Vice President Mr. Edmund Plashut, he is Anglo-German, Councilor Dr. Reinhold Ross, and Councilor Antonio Rigidor, he is a Filipino Spanish, and lastly, Councilor Dr. Jose Rizal, he is Filipino. The proud project of the organization, founded by Rizal, was the exposition of the Philippine Island in August 1889, which covered the following topics. These are the pre-Spanish Philippines, conquest of Spain, incorporation of the Philippines, Cavite Mutiny, and languages in the Philippines. After the succession of his organization, Rizal formed another organization named Indios Bravo. Its members were tasked to manifest physical prowess to bring inspiration for foreigners and to highlight the Filipino race. Its members were Rafael Ventura Brothers Juan and Antonio Luna and Trinidad Pardo de Tabera and the Boston family. After organizing the Indios Bravo, Rizal formed another group that aimed for redemption of the Malay race. He initiated this through help of our Filipinos. He named it with the following initials, RDLM, or the Redemption of the Malay Race. Yun lang, thank you.
So I will discuss my topic all about prolific works while in Paris. Next slide. A la defensa to the defense. In this article, date April 30, 1889, Rizal defended Mr. Patricio de la Escorsura, former royal commissary to the Philippines. His memoir contained the following facts: authorized overlook prior contamination of government officials who commit abuses against the Indio. So alam niyo ba na ang artikulo na ito ay isinulat ni Rizal upang sumalungat sa artikulo na isinulat ni Patricio de la Escorsura na inilimbag noon ng La Defensa. So kadalasang mga artikulo ni Escorsura ay naglalaman ng pagtanggi at pagtaliwas sa ideya ng mga Pilipino na manunulat. Next slide. Next slide. La Verdad para Todos. The Truth for All. This article was published in La Solidaridad on May 31, 1889. Jose Rizal criticized the weak Spanish government in the Philippines and the friars whom he considered as bad teachers for Filipinos who stand for the Catholic Church. So here's the two famous lines from the article. There is much demoralization among Filipinos. The boasted ministers of God and the propagators of light have not so nor those they sow Christians' morals. They have no religion hot rituals and superstitions. To blame the government that allows it through weaknesses, the people through ignorance, and the good who fold their arms through selfishness and wrap themselves in desperate silence. Next slides. Vicente Barantes, Teatro Tagalog. The article focuses on Rizal criticizing the article of Vicente Barantes who degraded the Filipino dignity. Ang artikulo naman nito ay may tatawag na rin na liham ni Rizal para kay Barantes dahil personal na isinulat ito ni Rizal upang may pagtanggol ang maling paglalarawan ni Vicente Barrantes sa kultura, sining at kasaysayan ng Pilipinas. Upang matugunan ni Rizal ang isinulat ni Vicente Barrantes sa dulang Tagalog, upang may parating kay Barrantes ang kawalan niya ng kaalaman sa teatrong Tagalog. Here's the famous lines from the article. Stir you the ire of everybody against the Filipinos who protest against such insults, against the grandchildren of those who have shed their blood for her flag, to extend her dominions in the Orient, to preserve her colonial empire against the Chinese, Japanese, Mohammedans, Dutch, Portuguese, and English. Next slides. Sucesos de las Islas Filipinas. Historical events of the Philippine Islands. In this book that was published in 1889, Rizal highlighted the Philippines and held the impartial view of its author Antonio Morga. He annotated the book. Dito naman ang rason Dito naman po ang rason nito kung bakit nagdagdag ng salobin si Rizal sa libro na ito. Sinulat ni De Morga ay upang ipakita na ang Pilipino ay hindi pantay sa mga Espanyol. Sa kadahilan ng may pagkakailanlan, tayo na sa atin lang nagmula pero sinira lamang ng mga dayuhang mananakop. Next slides. Filipino Grahero, Filipino farmer. In this article that was published in March 25, 1889, Rizal discussed the case if the Filipino farmer who has to struggle with problems such as low cuts, floods, and fires, and bad harvest. Alam naman natin na kadalasang sumisira sa hanap buhay ng ating mga magsasaka ay ang mga peste, mga sakuna, tulad ng pagbaha, sunog, at tagtuyot. Pero sa artikulo na ito ni Rizal, ipinakita niya na hindi lamang mga natural na sakuna ang mga nanira noon sa agrikultura ng Pilipino, kundi ang mga mapanlamang at ganid ng mga Espanyol. Next slides. Next slides po.
Sorry.
Sorry. Una, profanation. A profanation. This article was dated July 31, 1889. Rizal presented examples of the sins of Catholic Church through its Catholic Corporation in Calamba. Ang artikulo naman na ito ay ang pag-atake ni Rizal sa mga praile sa Binyan, Laguna. Ipinapahatid ni Rizal ang hinanakit niya sa mga praile dahil tinanggihan nila ang labi ni Mariano Herbosa na huwag ilibing ito sa isang sementeryo ng mga Katoliko. Next slides po. Consequences. This article was written by Rizal for La Solidaridad, date November 30, 1889. He defended Juan Luna and his brother Antonio Luna. He gave this important message that our mothers without writer of the article weep 1,000 times for not being able to give us any other thing except the unfortunate country where we were born. Next slides po. specimen of Tagal folklore. This work was published in July 1889 by Traveler's Record edited by Dr. Reinhold Ross, a journal devoted to Asian literature. In this work, Jose Rizal stated his proverbial sayings in Tagalog. Ito po ay isa sa mga famous lines ni Rizal, katulad ng ang kabataan ang pag-asa ng bayan. Ang hindi magmahal sa sariling wika ay mas masahol pa sa malansang isda. Yun lamang po, maraming salamat. Next slide.
Next.
Pilipinas dentro de 100 años or Philippine century. Um, is a socio-political essay written in 4 parts in September 1889 to January 1890 in the magazine La Solaridad by Jose Rizal, and it is one of the most significant political works of the movement in Spain. Rizal, tracing the circumstances that brought about the awakening of the Filipino and consequently the birth of the Filipino spirit of a nation. He underscores the needs to establish a new kind of political relationship between Spain and the Philippines. If the former does not wish a total breakup with the latter, Spain is being given a sort of ultimatum, reform or independence. Actually, atong Pilipinas dentro de 100 años, or which means socio-political essay, is may 4 na bahagi ito. Isa sa mga mahalagang artikulo ng La Solaridad na nilimbag sa Madrid sa pagitan ng Setyembre hanggang Enero. Isinulat para hulaan ang kinabukasan ng Pilipinas sa susunod na 100 taon, at nilahad ni Rizal ang mga issue na ikinakarap ng ating bansa. Katulad ng next slide please. Yan, Rizal's statement about the Philippines: lack of freedom, abuse of human rights, and lack of freedom of the press, and lack of representation in the Spanish courts. One moment.
Ako na yan. Okay na. Ayan. For telefono or the telephone. This satire is dedicated by Rizal to Father Salvador Font, an Augustinian friar, a parish priest of Tondo, Manila. The friar was noted for his notorious disobedience to the rules of congregation, just like Father Rodriguez. He was also a detractor of Noli, and this work was published in booklets in August 1888. Etong article naman na to ay pinapatungkol ni Rizal sa mga paring nagkasala at hindi tumatangkilik sa novel niyang Noli Me Tangere. Next slide please. Verdades Nuevas or New Truths. Rizal wrote his criticisms about the stagnant economy of the Philippines despite the presence of 4 respective convents of the Dominican, Franciscan, Augustinian, and Recollect with their religious corporation. And this work was dated July 31, 1888. Ito naman yung work naman nito ay pinapatungkol ni Rizal sa pangmamaliit ng ibang bansa sa mga Pilipinas. Nabanggit dito yung mga yung mga lahi na mga Latina na mababa ang tingin sa mga Pilipino. Next slide please. Crueldad or cruelty. Rizal explained his ungrateful task to intervene in a dispute and defend persons who were either armless and defenseless. The article was published in La Solidaridad on August 15, 88. Sa La Solidaridad naman ito ay pinapatungkol ni Rizal na hindi siya natutuwa sa pangmamaliit ng mga ibang bansa sa ating lahi. Next slide please. Differentias or differences. Rizal differentiated the term statu quo and statu quo, and later asked the government for order that it should have the power to control the priors and comply with its statutes of government orders. The article was published in La Solidaridad on September 15, 1888. Ang ibig sabihin ng status quo ay the existing of status of affairs regarding sa social and political issues. At ang status quo naman ay ang current situation or yung situation ng mga Pilipino nung mga panahon na yun. Yun lang po.
A la Patria. This was published in La Soledad on November 15, 1889. Was Rizal directed his insults to the newspaper that was funded by France in the Philippines named La Patria. Directed the grammar and urged the writer to review his identities. Next slide. Lelanto y Risas, Tears and Laughter. This article was published in La Soledad November 30, 1889. Rizal stated his views on miseries of the Philippines through a prayer of format. Next slide, please. And lastly, Ingratitude. This article was published in La Soledad on January 15, 1890. Rizal replied using case in Calamba Hacienda through the statement of Governor General Werler that the towns of Laguna should not allow themselves to be deluded by the vain promises of ungrateful sons. That's all for